Did you know that 80% of people say they want to write a book someday? Yet, only 1% actually finish one. That's a staggering number. Why do so many of us dream of telling our stories but never take action? The truth is, many are afraid of not being perfect. Here's the shocking fact: no story is perfect. Even the biggest hits have flaws. For instance, The Godfather, hailed as one of the best films of all time, has plot holes that fans still discuss today. This shows that imperfection doesn't mean failure. In fact, it often makes stories more relatable and engaging. In this video, we'll explore why perfection is a myth in storytelling. We'll dig into the beauty of flawed characters and how mistakes can lead to great ideas. You'll learn why emotional messiness makes your story shine and why authenticity beats perfection every time. So, if you're ready to discover the secrets to becoming a great storyteller and embrace the messy, wonderful journey of creativity, stay tuned. Your story is waiting to be told. Chapter 1: The Myth of Perfection. Why chasing flawlessness ruins your story. One of the biggest mistakes storytellers make is trying to be perfect. It's natural to want your story to be flawless, but here's the truth: perfect stories don't exist. In fact, chasing perfection can kill creativity. There's a well-known quote by Salvador Dali that says, "Have no fear of perfection, you'll never reach it." That's true in storytelling, too. When you obsess over making everything just right, you miss out on the magic that comes from spontaneity and rawness. Think about some of the most famous stories out there. Harry Potter, for example, is beloved by millions, but it has its plot holes. Yet, it's those quirks that make the story feel alive. Research shows that stories with relatable imperfections stick with audiences more than overly polished ones. According to a study by Princeton University, people are more likely to trust and connect with something that feels human and real rather than too perfect. So, instead of obsessing over a perfect plot or flawless dialogue, aim to capture authenticity. Your audience will care more about how your story makes them feel than if every single detail lines up perfectly. Let go of the need to control every part of the story, and you'll find that your creative flow improves. That's the key to unlocking new ideas and taking risks that lead to great storytelling. Chapter 2: The Beauty of Flawed Characters. How imperfection drives engagement. Great stories always have one thing in common: unforgettable characters. But here's the catch: the best characters are never perfect. We don't remember characters because they have it all together. We remember them because they don't. Think of Tony Stark in Iron Man. He's arrogant, flawed, and messy, yet that's exactly why people love him. Imperfections make characters relatable. Psychology backs this up. The pratfall effect shows that people tend to like others more when they make mistakes or show vulnerability. The same goes for storytelling. Flawed characters make your audience care because they reflect real life. No one is perfect in the real world, so when you create characters who have struggles, conflicts, and imperfections, your audience will see themselves in them. One powerful strategy is to give your characters internal struggles or moral dilemmas. This makes them more than just figures in a plot, it makes them human. For instance, in Breaking Bad, Walter White's transformation from mild-mannered chemistry teacher to drug kingpin is compelling because he's constantly grappling with his own choices. Viewers don't just watch the story, they feel it. That's what flawed characters do. They pull your audience into the emotional core of your story. Chapter 3: Emotional Messiness. The secret sauce to storytelling success. Emotions are the backbone of any good story. But here's the secret: messy emotions are better than neat ones. No one feels just one thing at a time. We're complicated. Stories that show this complexity are the ones that stick. Brené Brown, a researcher known for her work on vulnerability, once said, "Vulnerability is not winning or losing. It's having the courage to show up and be seen when we have no control over the outcome." When you bring that raw emotion into your storytelling, you create something powerful. Think about Pixar's Inside Out. It's a movie about emotions, and yet, its message isn't that we should be happy all the time. It's that all emotions, joy, sadness, fear, are important. That's why it resonates so much. People connect with stories that reflect their own emotional messiness. One interesting statistic is that stories with high emotional impact are 22 times more memorable than those that just deliver facts, according to a study by Stanford University. So, if you want your story to be unforgettable, don't smooth out the emotional edges. Lean into them. Show your characters conflicting feelings, their fears, their hopes, and how they deal with the messiness of life. This is what makes storytelling an art, not a formula. By embracing emotional complexity, you're not just telling a story, you're making your audience feel the story. And that's where the magic happens. If you're finding these insights helpful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Join our community for more tips on becoming a great storyteller. Chapter 4, Plot Holes and Happy Accidents. How mistakes lead to genius. Believe it or not, some of the best storytelling moments happen by accident. You might think plot holes are a sign of bad writing, but they can actually lead to creative breakthroughs. A famous example: Star Wars. George Lucas didn't originally plan for Darth Vader to be Luke Skywalker's father. That twist came later, but it became one of the most iconic moments in cinema history. It wasn't part of a flawless plan, it was a happy accident. Mistakes can spark your imagination in ways you never expect. There's even a term for it: serendipity. Embracing serendipity in storytelling means welcoming the unexpected. When something doesn't go as planned, ask yourself how you can turn it into something interesting. Sometimes, the mistake becomes the heart of your story. Another great example is J.R.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit. The entire story was born from a scribble on a blank piece of paper. Tolkien once wrote, "In a hole in the ground, there lived a hobbit," without knowing what it meant. That simple line turned into an epic world. Letting yourself make those creative leaps, even when they seem messy or strange, is how great stories often come to life. Instead of getting bogged down by fixing every plot hole or mistake, see them as opportunities to push your story into new directions. Perfection is boring. It's the unexpected, the unplanned, that often resonates most with readers. Chapter 5, The Unfinished Symphony. Why your story will never feel complete. Here's something every storyteller needs to understand: your story will never feel finished. And that's okay. It's natural to want to keep editing, tweaking, and refining until everything is just right. But at some point, you have to let it go. Ernest Hemingway once said, "The first draft of anything is garbage." Yet even he admitted that he never truly finished a story, he just stopped working on it. The feeling of incompletion is actually a good sign. It means you're passionate about your story. But it also means you're chasing something unattainable. Every great writer from Shakespeare to Stephen King has had to release work that didn't feel done. It's a reminder that stories evolve. They grow and change, but they're never perfect. A study from Harvard Business Review shows that creative people often struggle to feel satisfied with their work. This dissatisfaction drives them to keep improving, which is good. But it also means they need to recognize when to stop. So, set a deadline and stick to it. You can always improve your storytelling over time, but if you wait until your story feels perfect, it will never see the light of day. The best storytellers know when to walk away. Trust the process, trust your instincts, and understand that no story is ever truly finished. It's just ready enough to be shared with the world. If you enjoyed this video and found these storytelling tips helpful, don't forget to subscribe. Join our community for more insights and inspiration to unleash your inner storyteller.